Square, and they say that the biggest crowd in history ever to come to Times Square was on VJ Day in August 1945. But this crowd is frenzied, and humanity is packed person to person as far as you can see in every direction from Times Square. We're at 44th and Broadway on the west side of Times Square, and of course, as I told you earlier, this custom began New Year's Eve before 1905 when the crowd came to the Times Tower here, built that year, to see a giant fireworks display for the first time, and they've come back ever since. The hum, the noise is getting louder as we get closer to the moment when that giant ball will drop from the top of the Times Tower, 22 feet above Times Square, into 1978, and we're just about 2.5 minutes away, it looks to be now. That Times Tower, which is now called #1 Times Square, was sold and became the Allied Chemical Tower in 1964, and then in 1974, a young fellow named Alex Parker, who recalls coming to Times Square for this New Year's Eve celebration on the subway for a nickel from his home, had saved his nickels and bought that building. Now he calls it #1 Times Square. And this New Year's Eve, to press the button, starting the ball on its descent down into 1978, Alex chose a lady who was born the year that Times Tower was put up back in 1904. She is 73-year-old grandmother Lydia Bragger. And when she presses that button, the electric light bulbs will be flashing, and the giant ball will start its descent into next year. Then, after the new year begins, a model of a proposed space shuttle will be lighted there on top of the #1 Times Square in support of a drive to put the first manned structures in space for the conversion of solar energy by the year 2000. Congressman Olin Teague of Texas and Congresswoman Barbara McCuskey of Maryland are pushing support for the drive, along with a public committee headed by Mrs. Barbara Hubbard of New York, the Committee for the Future. They say that the space shuttle represents a step toward the ancient dream of peace, freedom, abundance, and knowledge and hope for all the children of the world. And those boys and girls are out tonight in Times Square. We're less than about 15 seconds away now from a minute before midnight, and they have come from all over the world to be here for this moment, from near and far. I can see signs from Buffalo, as I said earlier, from Sweden, from Piscataway, from all over the world, and now we are a minute away from 1978, and the giant ball has begun its descent into the new year. As you can hear, the roar of the crowd in Times Square is becoming louder as everyone is about to join in wishing you, wherever you are in the U.S. and Canada, all across North America, a happy New Year.
ready to dance to the turn and cover.
This